Hi guys, welcome to Evelyn's Oven, and thank God it's Friday. I'm so delighted that today is Friday. I'm so happy it's my day off, and it's beautiful outside, and I've been thinking about this recipe all week. I've been watching a lot of Amy Roloff's recipes, and she made a Salisbury steak with garlic mashed potatoes. And she used, I do believe, the extra lean ground beef, so which is really good, right? But I want to do the same thing, but without using meat. I was going to try the impossible meat. You know, it comes in like a little like ground beef section where you can take it. It's just like ground beef. It's all mushy. You can get all the ingredients together and form your own little patties. Right, honey?
Right.
So now we.
Did you tell them it's Friday?
I did.
Woohoo! Friday! What is this?
So, I got what we're going to do first is make the gravy. Since the gravy will keep until we get the meat. We have everything except for the impossible meat. And,
well,
you know, the stores, if you've been to the grocery stores lately,
yep, it's bad.
we haven't been able to find all the ingredients we're looking for. Like, things are depleting the aisles. I don't know if you guys been in the store recently, the grocery store, but a lot of stuff is going away. So, or there's very few items left. So that's our goal for today, is to get the impossible meat. And now you guys can get whatever version you want if you're a vegetarian. And this dish will actually be like vegan, because I'm not going to use any dairy. Oh, let me take that back a little bit. I might use dairy in the mashed potatoes, you know, add some butter and cream. But I mean, this is so easy to do vegan, because for the main dish, I'm going to use the impossible meat, which it's a soy protein. It's not like tofu where you have this weird texture. But you know, you could totally do this recipe vegan other than vegetarian. So that is my plan. So Salisbury steak with mushroom gravy, mashed potatoes, and with garlic. So to get started on our gravy, I have, move this over. Turn this camera a little bit too. So I'm just happy to be home, and I can get back at what I love doing, is cooking and sharing and all that good stuff. So I have some mushrooms here, and these are canned mushrooms, and I wanted to use canned mushrooms. You could use fresh, which would be my choice most times. But because I'm doing a gravy, it's going to be wet and moist, and it has to reduce down anyway. This kind of, you know, I wouldn't say skips a step, but it takes a lot less time. And also, I would like to use the water that comes in with the gravy. Of course, there's already sodium in it, so I don't have to add salt, right? Also, the juice that's in the can with the mushrooms is just like mushroom broth. So, which is going to be like the flavoring for the mushroom gravy. So I don't have to add beef stock. I don't have to add, vegetable stock. But you could do it that way. You could get your fresh mushrooms, and you can, slice them up and then add water. You can add vegetable broth. You can add beef broth. It just depends on what variations you're going to use. So that's why I use the canned mushrooms for this gravy. And then I have, instead of real butter, I'm using, I can't believe it's not butter. It has olive oil in it. So this is the part where you could totally pass for vegan, right? I have 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. to thicken it and give it a roux. I have 1 cup of red wine, and I have my black pepper here. And over here, I have my potatoes and my garlic, which I'm going to use for that dish. And I have just a tiny, tiny piece of a red onion. And I'm going to dice this up because I'm going to use that in the flavoring for the mushroom gravy. Now, I know Brian's not crazy about onions, so I'm just using a little bit, and I'm dicing it up so small that hopefully it'll just blend in with the liquid, and it will just dissipate. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. So I'm just going to cut it really, really small. Just like tiny little, it's like mincing it almost. That's what I should just say. I'm mincing this tiny bit of an onion. It's maybe like a quarter of a red onion. So this recipe calls for one, what you call it, what was it? I think it was a half a cup of red onion. Anyway, I've reduced it down because even though I'm doubling the recipe, because there's 4 of us, I didn't want to use a lot of onion and have that be the flavor of the gravy, if you know what I mean. So, okay, so I'm going to move this over here. And also for my potatoes, and I'll get to that, I'm like so excited to make this dish because I've been craving like warm, you know, comfort foods, and mashed potatoes and gravy is just like the ultimate comfort food. So really excited. But these little Yukon Gold potatoes, like I'll probably just dice them up or cube them up and put them in the Instapot and let them get really soft, and then I'll put them in this mixer right here. I don't know if you can see my mixer, and put in the butter and all the seasonings after and mush it down. So, okay, let's get started. I'm going to turn you guys over here. I don't think you can see my pan. I'm going to move this so you guys can see my pan. Yeah. Okay, that's better. You can see the pan. I think I do want you kind of closer, but I think you'll have to be, just wipe this down real quick. So again, today I kind of planned ahead, and I, you know, wiped down the island and got most of the ingredients together. Let's see. I kind of want you guys closer. I don't know how to, let's see. Now that's going to be too far away. Let me try this again. I had you guys there before, and I'll get you there again. It might take me a minute. I appreciate you guys being patient with me while I get this set up. Okay, I'm just going to move some stuff around. I have a lot of jars. I don't know if you guys are the same, but I love candles, and after the candle burns out, I save the jars. Not all of them, but most of them. Can't see that. Let me move this other jar. Maybe this is the trick. This is the one I have a tea jar. I'll just move it over here. There we go. You guys can see the pan, right? I almost want to put you closer, but this little thing won't let me go down much further, I don't think. Just unlock it. Oh, it goes up. Yeah, I don't want it to go up. Okay. So you guys can see the pan. And I will do some close-ups. So I think we're good. So I just bought this pan not too long ago. Stainless steel. I haven't used it yet. So this is going to be a trial and error thing. But I heard these kind of pans are good for gravy. So what I'm going to start out with is my 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm just going to, and turn on my fire. I'm just going to eyeball it. Oops, I had it and then I lost it. Okay, and I'm going to get the pan hot. Move my olive oil around a little bit. Let it get hot. I need thyme seasoning. All I have is, I would love to use fresh with everything, but I just don't have it, and I don't want to wait to go to the grocery store just to buy fresh. So I am going to use ground thyme since it is a gravy, it'll work just fine. Okay, and I've got my ingredients here. I've got my butter, or I can't believe it's not butter, I should say. My flour, my wine, a little bit of pepper, and I've got my mushrooms. Okay, so here goes. I think well, it's not really, it's warm, but it's not what you call hot. Okay, I think it's ready to go. So I've got my minced onion here. Yeah, you can hear that going. It's definitely hot. Turn it down to 6. So I'm going to use medium heat. I started off high heat just to get it hot. And I just love wooden spoons and wooden spatulas. I think I'm going to go buy some. Maybe today. Today's my day off, and tomorrow is too. Tomorrow, hopefully, Lord willing, we'll be going to church and spending the day with the Lord. That's what we like to do on Saturday. And then, so I got this cooking. I don't want it, I'm going to let it, like do its thing for a minute. And you could let them caramelize or whatever. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. And I'm going to add about a 1/4 teaspoon of this thyme seasoning. And look at these measuring spoons. Aren't they cute? They almost look like for, I don't know, cows or something, but that has the black and then the tan. And they're just so cute. Anyway, I love little stuff like this. So I got my 1/4 teaspoon of ground thyme. These are so cute. I actually got to go to the thrift store on my day off last time, and I found a couple of purses. I know purses is off topic of cooking, but I have a ton of purses, and I have to purge them like once a year. There's so many in there. Okay, so I'm giving this a quick stir. We got, oh God, all it takes is a little bit of seasoning, and it smells so wonderful in here. Okay. So let this do its thing for a second. I might add a little garlic powder. I have fresh garlic over there, but I'm just going to add a little bit of this ground powder garlic. You know, I'm already using a lot of fresh garlic for the mashed potatoes. I don't want to overpower everything, but I'm just going to add a little bit in the gravy. So I'll give you a quick, well, you can see the pan, but you really can't see what's in there until you get a good close-up. So that light greenish color is both, I think, the olive oil and the thyme. See, it's starting to turn brown a little bit, so we're going to add our flour. Okay. So we're actually going to add the butter at the end. So now we're going to add our flour. And give that a good whirl and get all this juices soaked up with the flour. So again, this is what it looks like. So it just looks like we have some flour covered onions, which is our roux, right? This is what we're going to use to make the gravy. There we go. There's that. So it's soaked up all the olive oil. So now we're going to add the wine, and then we're going to add the mushrooms. It's nice and hot right now, so a lot of that stuff can burn off. That's nice burgundy flavor or color. Yeah, it's a burgundy flavor too. There you go. And we got the wine roux. That's doing its thing. And now we're going to add the mushrooms with the juice, with the broth. So now we're just going to move this around where everything's incorporated. I don't want my handle of the pan to be out here and somebody run into it, or I run into it and whoops, everything is on to the ground. Don't want that. So here we have the wine mixed in with the roux and the juice of the mushrooms. So I'd add a little salt and pepper. I'm going to set this down. Okay. Just going to add a little more pepper. Dash of salt. Give that a quick stir. I might have to add a little bit of water because I'm trying to double the recipe and the can of mushrooms only come up with so much liquid, so I probably need to add a little more. About a half a cup of water. Find the lid for this. So I'm going to let this come up to a boil, and then I'm going to reduce the heat down, and then we'll be done with our gravy. We will just, and then we're going to work on our potatoes. We're going to save the best for last. I'm so excited to make these Salisbury steaks. We'll have to mush it, everything together, and form little patties. And I'm going to figure out if I'm going to use this pan, which I really love this pan. But ideally, I might just go out and buy another pan because I want a huge pan that I can stick in the oven as well. So it's boiling. I'm going to turn it down. Actually, I'm just going to turn it off. So here we go. This is what it looks like. See? This pan really turned out really good for this gravy. Except for it's just moving around a lot. Got to stabilize the pan somewhere. But yeah, so look at that. It's nice and thick. I can always add more water to it because it's going to thicken as it sits. So I will do that. We will do that. But I just wanted to, you know, before it's all said and done, just get it started. So I have the gravy done. Okay. Moving on. Oh, it's not quite done. I didn't add the butter. Or can't believe it's not butter. Give this a quick stir in. I get so excited and I just want to move on quickly. I got to learn to be a little more patient. There we go. I just need to learn to be a little patient, so do this right. So 1 tablespoon I would say you'd use for the normal, but since there's 4 of us eating, and I'm sure we're going to want gravy with our potatoes and for our Salisbury steak, I want to make sure to double the recipe. And that's why there's 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of butter. There you go. And I want to taste it so badly. I want to taste it. I'm gonna. So I'm gonna find a small mushroom here. There we go. This is the true test. It's so nice today. I'm going to be thankful to go outside and go to the grocery store and find our meat for our vegetarian Salisbury steaks. Very good. So I'm going to just let this sit here, and we are going to go on to the mashed potatoes. And get the cover for my butter because I don't like to leave it open. Okay, back to the drawing board. Let's see what we got going on over here. Put these in the sink. I'm just going to give my cutting board a quick wash so I can use it for my potatoes. I guess you could call this slightly intermission time, but I'm not really going to anywhere. Okay. I've got my candle going. It smells really good in here. I'm going to use all these cloves of garlic. Like I'm going to use a whole bowl for the potatoes. So I have these little Yukon Golds, and I have, at first I was going to do 2 per person, but I mean 2 looks like this, and when we're dishing out mashed potatoes, it really looks more like this. So I decided 3 per person. I'd rather have too much than not enough. So I've got about 4 times 3. I've got 12 potatoes here. So I'm just going to cut them in half. And I'm going to cut them in half again. And just give them a good slice in the middle, as you can see here. cut each one like this. So they're like, you know, about an inch, half-inch pieces. This part doesn't really matter as long as they're cut fairly close together, so that way when they cook in the Instant Pot, they're going to cook evenly. And I love this Instant Pot. I know, I think I mentioned it before. But I mean, it does wonders like with soup. It's just so easy. You saute your vegetables, you add your broth, and then boom. It does all the work. Stove does all the work too. It just takes longer. So since this potato is a little bit bigger, I'm going to cut it in thirds. Just to kind of keep them relatively the same size. But the Instant Pot really does, you know, do its job. If I put it on, let's see, meat stew, or if I steam them, they're going to be, you know, pretty much mushy, I'm thinking. Which is okay because afterwards I want to stick them in my mixer. Well, actually Brian brought that up. He said, why don't you just stick them in the mixer, put your butter or whatever, and just have it mixed it. And you know what? That makes total sense. Why am I going to work extra elbow grease into mashing them? Of course you could do that. I have an old-fashioned masher around here somewhere. But why not utilize the tools that I have here? Makes sense.